Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about clause 6. Hope you are seen my previous video as well. That is the continuation of previous video like clause 5. Now we are going to discuss about clause 6. Clause 6 is more into the planning phase. This is one of the important clause in information security management standard, like it talks about that risk assessment and risk treatment, how you are going to plan those things in your organization. That will in detail, those things will discuss it in this video. Means, as I mentioned to you in my earlier videos, it's more like PDCA part, like planning, plan, do, check, act. But still we are in planning phase, means how you are planning your risk assessment and risk treatment in your organization, like governance level policies, like risk management policy, risk management procedure, and what are the things you need to consider while planning those things. We'll discuss those things in this risk assessment and risk treatment plan. If we talk about subclause 6.1, actions to address risks and opportunities, it's more into the planning phase, as I mentioned earlier. Means while planning your risk assessment at org level, you need to consider the clause 4 requirements. That is nothing but your 4.1 and 4.2, like internal and external issues, interested party needs and expectations. You need to consider those things as well in your planning phase. And subclause 6.1.2, information security risk assessment, means we risk assessment for while planning that risk assessment, you need to have some risk acceptance value, risk criteria nothing but like low, medium, high. What is your risk acceptance level? What top level acceptance values created by your management? And like that, I'll show you those samples of risks, how you are identifying that risk, what type of risks, and what are the mitigation plans applicable for that risk to mitigate. And also the sample risk assessment as well. Risk assessment is meant confidentiality, integrity, availability, which will affect if that risk occurs, and the risk value it calculated based on that impact and probability, impact into probability. We will get some risk value. If it is at that, if it is more than your risk acceptance value, you need to have some mitigation plans. And what is the mitigation plan? What are the controls applicable to mitigate that one? I'll show you one sample at the end of this video. I'll put those samples as well, and explain you in detail in that. Subclause 6.1.2, information security risk treatment. Risk treatment, you are already planned for risk assessment, then we need to plan for risk treatment as well. How you are going to how you are going to mitigate that identified risk. Means if the risk impact is more in in your organization, maybe the financial risk, maybe the security risk, some other customer related thing, if how you are going to mitigate that one. For example, if you identify the high risk, what are the mitigation plans, how to mitigate that, means how to reduce the impact value. Those things will need to plan in this 6.2 clause. I'll explain you in detail, step by step. You this one, like if you, as of now we discussed about clause 6.1. Now we are going to discuss about subclause 6.2. Subclause 6.2 talks about information security objectives and planning to achieve them. While defining your ISMS framework in your organization, we need to have this 6.2 clause requirement as well. It's more into your security objectives and how you are going to achieve them. It's, as I mentioned to you earlier, it's a planning phase. You need to define that objectives, what type of objectives you want to define, and how frequently you are going to review those objectives. It should be a measurable, time bound, and also monitored regularly. If we are not met that actual target versus actual, what are the actions plans to correct that one? Those things you need to highlight in your objectives. That is in planning phase. I've mentioned few sample objectives here. That is more into the information security related thing. Different organization, they have different um, objectives. They define their own objectives, and also based on the nature of business they defined related to this. If we talk about service industry or customer support related thing, they more focused on CSAT related thing. But the security wise, few objectives are similar, but how many objectives you want to define and how you are measuring those things, that's up to the organization. In the standard it will not mention these many objectives you need to define, and you need to review it regularly, frequency at least annually you need to do. But some organizations they do it on quarterly basis, biannual basis they do, and verify that target versus actuals whether we met or not. These are the few sample objectives. The first one is zero security incidents. I mean, for example, if I talk about a typical product development company, they said the first objective was zero security incident. The review of these objectives is annually they are on to review those things. In such cases, what they need to do is the target is 100%. Whether they achieved or not, how they are measuring those things, that will check in our clause number 8. Monitoring measuring clause is there. I'll explain you in detail in that. And second point, 100% completion of ISMS awareness trainings on annual basis. It is also one of the target regularly using one known objective means awareness sessions, ISMS awareness sessions to all employees that they mentioned as 100%. Whether they met or not, that we'll discuss in clause 8. On-time patch updates, yeah, every system patches, every if you are using Windows thing, Windows OS and all, Windows 11, every second Tuesday, second week of Tuesday, Microsoft releases the patches, whether they updated or not. Maybe n minus one previous month, one previous month patches may be uploaded now. Next this month patch may be pushed, that patches in next month. N minus one if they are following, depends upon the organization. That is also whether they are up to date or not. As an auditor, what you need to check in that is in this objective is they put 100% as that objective. In a typical organization around 100 or maybe we consider 1000 assets are using all Windows laptops. In that 1000 assets, how many laptops are updated with latest patches? Maybe 80%, 70%. You need to see that in console level if they are pushing that patches automatically. That we need to discuss in monitoring and measurement part, and the team who is handling these things, majorly IT infrastructure team may handle those things. We need to verify in clause 8. And on-time product delivery with zero error is more into product development part. You are developing some product, you are tested everything, but unfortunately once you deployed that one into the client environment, you get some bug, maybe post-deployment bug. They mentioned that they mentioned this one as one of the objective in their objectives or infosec objectives, and unfortunately one or two instances happen in like that. Ultimately they are not met the objective. They need to cross verify root cause analysis where this why these bugs are occurred, where we did that mistake. Those things may be considered. And also this is a high level objectives what I mentioned and presented in this video. Maybe department level or functional level, team level, they have some KPIs, KRS, key performance indicators, and they break into small objectives and monitor those things in functional level as well. Depends upon that organization and the type of business, how they want to drive, how stringent they want to drive that framework in the organization. Yeah, this is the sample risk register, how the organizations track all the risks in this risk register. But it depends upon the organization size and capability, because big organizations may afford the tools specific to risk. How they want to track some risks in that tools as well. And also few organizations use the ticket Jira tickets. They raise one Jira ticket and as for each risk and track end to end in that Jira tickets as well. But nowadays most of the companies are moving to tools to track all the risks in one repository. Example, Vanta tool is there. Vanta is nowadays it is booming slowly, and it's a compliance tool. Most of the companies are using those tools. It is not only to track that risk, it entire standard related framework evidences, and for not only ISO 27001 2022, it will also use for SOC 1, SOC 2 audits, PCI related thing, and other standards as well. Based on that requirement, they use like that. But this is the as a sample, I'm bring this one to you. It's more into like how the risks are tracked in the small organizations in Excel sheet they track. As I discussed it to you in my earlier video, how you are identifying that risk, what is the methodology or categorization of risks. Here it is identifying that impact and all. And the calculation of risk score, how they are doing is risk rate is equal to impact into probability. Impact into probability. This is the risk rate, means nothing but your risk value. I'll show you few examples how these calculations are done, and we'll be move on to down here. It talks about impact level and explanation. What is the score? For example, a low impact. If impact is low, it is negligible or less impact on that, and they scored it as an 1. And also medium risk, they score it as 2, tangible, and high risks, they significant, it they scored as 3. This is the impact value. Like that, probability also defined here. Probability low, medium, high, 1, 2, 3. But as per this risk formula, like risk value is equal to impact into probability. For example, if our risks uh, impact is a 3 and our risk probability is also 2, if 2 into 2, the risk value is 4. Here the risk rating, how they want to categorize that color coding and all. If the risk value is between 1 to 3, they treat it as low. If value is 4 to 6, that is medium, they treat it as, that is yellow. And 7 to 9, they treat it as high. High in the sense the risk impact is a little high. Maybe it will impact your business. That's why they rated as high. If the risk value is 7 or more than 7, they consider those risks as a high. And also if the risk value 4 to 6, they treated as medium. Medium and high risks, definitely we require that mitigation plans. They need to treat that one, because if both values are little high, these things are defined by the org level, because that management people discussed and defined those things. If my risk value is between 1 to 3, I'll accept. Nothing but your acceptance value. If risk value is less than 3, those risks are accepted by the organization. Maybe they not require that mitigation plans and all. If the risk value is more than 4 up to 9, definitely they want to treat those risks. Mitigation plans and additional controls applied for that to mitigate that one. Those things, I'll show you that example here. This is the small example sample template I'm showing to you. If we talk about I'll discuss with headers what are the things we are capturing in the risk register, serial number, which standard, what is that risk, control reference, issue of that risk, what is the impact, probability, and risk score. And then, and also risk category is also, rating is mentioned here as a medium and or medium, low, high, like that. Then mitigation strategy, existing controls, risk treatment, status of treatment, then risk reschedule value, overall thing. And lastly, the impact analysis, internal, external, means responsible, accountable, uh, consultant, means RACI matrix. It's more into, they defined here in detail. If you talk about first one, if you talk about data loss, they A.8.12, this is the control requirement. What is that risk identified here is end user can share the data from laptop. That means they can share that laptops to external devices. Means they maybe they share that data to external, means data loss, transferring the data from office laptops to others. That is the risk what they identified. Like that, similar risks are identified, like data loss. If we talk about sixth one, data loss from critical user endpoints failure. Endpoints mean nothing but their laptops or local missions if they fail. Okay, 8.1 they consider here. If they fail, what impact is little high because they are not able to deliver the services or to the customers. That's why they mentioned impact as 3. Probability may be reoccurring slowly. I mean, reoccurrence. I mean, the similar risk may occur in future. That's why they take this one as 2. Probability impact into probability. The risk value is 6. 6 as per our risk value table. You as I shown to you earlier, right? In as per that, this risk lies on medium. Then these are the existing controls. BitLocker encryption is enabled on drivers, means BitLocker enabled for all end user devices. Then risk treatment. What they want to do is implement a backups, daily or weekly or backups to the endpoints. After implementing all those controls, they verify the risk reschedule value. Risk reschedule value, after applying these controls, the impact level decreases from 3 to 2 and probability level decreases from 1 to 2 to 1. Then the value is 2 into 1, 2, because this risk is acceptable, they as per their policy, and treated all those things. So like that, similar way they treat all that risk. This is high risk, lack of security for Windows servers, antivirus software related thing, because impact is high, probability is high. If you don't have any proper security in place, maybe it will affect your entire business and the external threats may occur. That's why they consider this as a high risk and treated that one as well. In some organizations, what they do is, even if the risk value is low, they monitor regularly, and if anything happen, they review those risks again and again, whether that risks may not be occur in future. These are the few samples how these risks are in. Hope this will help you to understand what is risk, how they are identifying, how they are going to mitigate that one, what are the action plans prepared, what is the risk reschedule value and all. Hope this will help you. This video will help you to learn about the basic things of risks, how they are identified. This is clause 6.3, planning of changes. In this slide, I'll explain you about changes, how you are incorporated in your framework, ISMS framework. Before that, I want to explain you one thing. This planning of changes is recently added in 2013 version. It is not there. After releasing this ISO 27001 2022 standard in March 2024, across the globe, few things are amended and added. The new controls, the new clauses here. That is one of the clauses, planning of changes. In 2013 version, it is not there. Now in 2022, it is added. Planning of changes, what exactly the standard requirement is, if any changes happen in the organization which impact your ISMS framework, those things can be captured in a planned manner. Example, the few examples I mentioned in this slide, it's more into like introducing a new process into your existing framework. Means earlier this process is not audited and defined. Okay, now your management want to add this process in your existing scope statement. They want to add that one. In such cases, you need to capture all these things in your planning of changes. Like that, if any top level management changes happen in that organization who drives the ISMS framework, in such cases also you need to add those things in your planning of changes. And org structure level and any infra level upgradations happen, those things also you need to capture properly in your planning of changes. It's more into how you are planning your changes related to information security management system in your organization. Those things will be captured in planning of changes requirement. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel.